The mining vessel Horizon drifted silently through the ink-black expanse of the Kuiper Belt, its massive hull casting long shadows across frozen rocky debris. Jack Hunter stood motionless at the primary observation deck, his calloused fingers trailing across the holographic interface with the practiced ease of a veteran deep space explorer. 37 years of service had taught him that the universe rarely revealed its secrets without a fight. Geological survey drones hummed outside, their scanning beams cutting through millennia of cosmic dust and accumulated radiation. Standard resource extraction mission, the kind that had become routine for humanity's expanding interstellar presence. Nothing about this particular sector suggested anything beyond another potential mining claim. Another chunk of frozen rock to be stripped of valuable minerals and forgotten. Incoming anomalous reading, announced Sierra Rodriguez, the mission's lead geological analyst. Her voice carried a hint of professional excitement that immediately set Hunter's veteran instincts on high alert. Years of space exploration had taught him that excitement often preceded discovery or disaster. The holographic display flickered, then erupted into a complex web of data points that defied conventional mapping protocols. Crystalline structures began to resolve themselves, not as random geological formations, but as something profoundly deliberate. Geometric patterns emerged with mathematical precision, each angle and intersection suggesting an intelligence far beyond natural formation. "Run that scan again," Hunter commanded, leaning closer to the display. Sierra's fingers danced across her control panel, recalibrating sensors and cross-referencing the initial readings. Her breath caught in her throat. "Sir, these readings, they're impossible." The object was massive, roughly 2 kilometers in length, embedded within a small, previously unremarkable planetoid. Its surface seemed to shift and pulse with an inner light that didn't correspond to any known energy spectrum. Spectral analysis returned conflicting data, one moment suggesting complex metallic compounds, the next indicating something closer to living tissue. Hunter had seen impossible things before. Humanity's expansion into deep space had shattered countless scientific assumptions. But this was different. This felt like something was watching them. "Active scanning," he ordered. "Full spectrum. I want to know what we're looking at." The Horizon's advanced sensor arrays, built to detect microscopic resource deposits across entire planetary systems, began their meticulous investigation. Initial probes returned fragmentary data that made no sense. Energy signatures fluctuated wildly. Molecular structures appeared to reconfigure themselves between sensor suites. "It's responding to our scans," Sierra whispered, her professional composure momentarily cracking. And she was right. With each successive scan, the crystalline structure seemed to pulse, not randomly, but with an almost deliberate rhythm, like something awakening from a long, deep sleep. Hunter's military training kicked in. First contact protocols demanded caution, documentation, absolute precision. But something deeper, an instinct honed by decades of exploring humanity's expanding frontier, told him this was different. This wasn't just another discovery. This was a moment that would redefine everything. "Full documentation," he commanded. "Record everything." And I mean everything. The massive artifact continued to pulse, its geometric patterns growing more complex with each passing moment. Fractal structures blossomed across its surface, creating intricate designs that seemed to dance between mathematical precision and living complexity. No one aboard the Horizon could have predicted what would happen next. No protocol, no training, no previous experience could have prepared them for the moment when the artifact truly began to wake up. Something ancient was stirring, and humanity had just become its first point of contact. The first transmission arrived at 300 hours Universal Standard Time, slicing through every communication channel with a precision that immediately set alarms blaring across the Horizon's command deck. Jack Hunter had seen communication disruptions before, but this was different. This was deliberate. Sierra Rodriguez's hands flew across the communication interface, her fingers a blur of motion, as she attempted to stabilize the incoming signal. The holographic displays flickered, reality itself seeming to warp around the incoming transmission. Multiple dimensional cascades, she muttered, more to herself than to Hunter. This isn't just a message, it's a dimensional intervention. The bridge crew fell silent. Veteran space explorers, each with decades of deep space experience, found themselves holding collective breath. Something was coming through, something that didn't follow any known rules of communication. Then came the voice. Not a voice, precisely. More like a collective consciousness translated into sound, into language, into pure information that pressed against the human mind with almost physical force. The universal translator system struggled, then capitulated, rendering the transmission in a dozen simultaneous languages. Cease. Immediate. Approach. The words carried a weight that transcended mere communication. Each syllable felt like a physical pressure, a warning that resonated at a frequency beyond human hearing. Sierra's nose began to bleed from the psychic intensity of the transmission. Jack Hunter had faced down corporate mercenaries, survived 3 deep space conflict zones, and negotiated with some of the most complex alien trading collectives humanity had encountered. But this was different. This was pure, concentrated terror trying to communicate. The transmission continued, breaking down into complex mathematical sequences that seemed to map entire civilizational histories. Fragmentary images flickered across their displays, glimpses of entire star systems reduced to atomic dust, civilizations erased in moments of cosmic violence. The artifact you have discovered, the transmission explained, is a containment vessel, not a weapon, not a technology, a prison. Sierra's analysis systems began working overtime, breaking down the transmission's complex structure. What they revealed was terrifying in its implications. The message wasn't just a warning. It was a desperate plea from a collective of galactic civilizations that had spent millennia maintaining a delicate cosmic balance. Something is contained within that structure. The transmission continued. That could unmake reality itself. Your species lacks the comprehension to understand the consequences of your curiosity. Hunter stepped forward, activating the return communication protocols. Identify yourself, he demanded. What are we dealing with? The response was immediate and chilling. A panoramic display erupted across their systems, showing a complex network of alien civilizations, hundreds of species interconnected in a vast, intricate web. At the center of this network sat what could only be described as a collective consciousness, a governing body that had maintained galactic peace for countless millennia. The convergence. They were showing humanity exactly how small they were, how insignificant, how dangerously naive. The artifact you have discovered, the transmission explained, is a containment system for an entity that predates our collective civilizations. An intelligence so profound, so destructive, that its mere awakening could unravel the fabric of space-time. Sierra's scientific mind raced. Predates your civilizations. How is that possible? The response came like a physical wave of information. Some things exist beyond time, beyond comprehension. Your species has stumbled upon a lock that was never meant to be opened. Hunter recognized the underlying message. This wasn't just a warning. This was a threat. The convergence was telling them, in no uncertain terms, to walk away, to forget what they had discovered, to pretend the artifact didn't exist. But humanity had never been good at following instructions. We're not going anywhere, Hunter transmitted back, his voice steady and clear. We're going to understand what we found. The transmission went silent, but both Hunter and Rodriguez knew something had fundamentally changed. They had just become the most dangerous and most interesting species in the galaxy. The real conversation was just beginning. The neural interface hummed with an energy that defied every known principle of quantum mechanics. Jack Hunter watched as Sierra Rodriguez connected herself to the research array, her body suspended in a delicate web of quantum-sensitive neural conductors. 12 hours had passed since the convergence's warning, and humanity's most advanced research team was about to do exactly what they'd been told not to do. Explore, understand, interact. Initiating primary neural mapping, Sierra's voice came through the comm system, steady but with an undercurrent of anticipation that made the entire research team hold its collective breath. The artifact's crystalline structure began to shift. Not violently, not aggressively, but with a fluidity that suggested something more than mechanical response, something closer to curiosity. Dr. Emily Chung, the team's lead neurophysicist, monitored the quantum entanglement readings. "Synaptic resonance is impossible," she muttered, her eyes wide with a mixture of terror and scientific ecstasy. "The artifact is responding to neural patterns in ways that completely violate our understanding of consciousness." What they were discovering was unprecedented. Where previous alien technological probes had triggered violent defensive mechanisms, human neural patterns seemed to generate something entirely different, a harmonic response, a dialogue. Sierra's neural feed began to display impossible images, fractals that existed in dimensions beyond human comprehension, memory landscapes that seemed to stretch across impossible distances, glimpses of civilizations that had risen and fallen before humanity had learned to make fire. "It's studying us," she whispered, her consciousness dancing along the edges of something profound. "We're not just scanning the artifact. It's scanning us." Jack Hunter watched the medical readouts with growing tension. Sierra's brain activity was off the charts. Quantum entanglement markers were showing connections that should be scientifically impossible. Neural pathways were forming and reforming at speeds that defied every known principle of human neurology. Quantum resonance at 287%, Dr. Chang reported, her voice trembling. Neural mapping is creating feedback loops that shouldn't exist in any known physical system. The artifact responded to human consciousness in ways no one could have predicted. Complex energy patterns began to dance around the research station, fractal representations of communication that seemed to pulse with an almost emotional quality. It wasn't just receiving information, it was learning. Multiple dimensional cascades detected, the station's AI announced. Warning: consciousness transfer protocols detecting unprecedented quantum entanglement. Sierra's body remained perfectly still, suspended in the neural interface, but her mind was traveling through landscapes of pure information. The artifact wasn't just a piece of technology. It was alive, and it was curious about humanity in a way no other species had ever triggered. Fragments of memory began to bleed through. Not Sierra's memories, not human memories, but something older, something that existed before time as humans understood it. Civilizations that had risen and fallen, cosmic conflicts that had reshaped entire galactic structures, an intelligence that had watched and waited for something, or someone, capable of truly understanding its purpose. "Contact," Sierra suddenly whispered. First real contact. The research team watched in stunned silence as the artifact's crystalline structure began to pulse with a rhythm that seemed almost like breathing. Complex geometric patterns blossomed across its surface, creating intricate designs that danced between mathematical precision and something closer to living art. Dr. Chang's instruments were going wild. Quantum entanglement is creating neural pathways that shouldn't be possible. The artifact isn't just communicating. It's learning our entire species' potential in real time. Jack Hunter understood then that they had crossed a line. No longer were they simply exploring an unknown technological marvel. They had become participants in a cosmic conversation that would reshape everything humanity understood about consciousness, technology, and their place in the universe. Something ancient was waking up, and humanity had just become its chosen interpreter. The first wave of convergence battleships materialized at the edge of the solar system, like phantoms of impossible geometry. Each vessel represented technological advancement, so profound that human military strategists had always considered them essentially invincible. Massive constructs that could reduce entire planetary systems to atomic dust with a single pulse, they moved with a precision that defied conventional understanding of space and time. Jack Hunter watched the tactical displays with a mixture of professional calm and barely contained excitement. 12 massive ships appeared first, each one capable of obliterating entire human fleets with less effort than a human might swat an insect. "Incoming transmission," Sierra Rodriguez announced, her voice tight with tension. The communication burst across every human frequency, a wall of pure information that threatened to overwhelm their communication systems. The message was both a warning and a decree of absolute finality. Humanity will cease all interaction with the artifact. The transmission declared. Immediate withdrawal is mandatory. Resistance will result in total species elimination. Dr. Emily Chang's fingers flew across her analysis station. Their weapon signatures are unlike anything we've ever seen. Each ship could theoretically destroy every human settlement in the solar system in less than 17 minutes. But something was different this time. The artifact, the massive crystalline structure they had discovered, began to pulse with an energy that made the surrounding space itself seem to ripple and distort. The Convergence fleet's initial attack wave launched with mathematical precision. Energy weapons that could strip planets down to their core materialized, targeting not just the human research station, but the entire region of space surrounding the artifact. What happened next defied every known principle of warfare. As the first energy pulse approached, the artifact seemed to breathe. A wave of pure quantum energy erupted from its crystalline structure, creating a defensive field that wasn't just a shield, but something more complex. The incoming weapons simply ceased to exist, not destroyed, not deflected, simply unmade at the quantum level. "Impossible," Dr. Chang whispered. The human research team watched in stunned silence as the most advanced weapons in the known galaxy were systematically erased from existence. The Convergence fleet found its most sophisticated attack systems becoming inert, computational matrices overwhelmed by an intelligence they couldn't comprehend. Jack Hunter's military training kicked in. "Full documentation," he commanded. "Record every millisecond of this encounter." Sierra's neural interface was still active, providing insights that transcended traditional sensor readings. "It's communicating," she said, her voice distant. "The artifact is actively analyzing and neutralizing their attack in real time." The Convergent ships began to retreat, something that had never happened in their documented history. Entire vessels simply winked out of existence, not destroyed, but somehow relocated, removed from the battlefield with a precision that suggested the artifact was treating them like pieces on a complex, multidimensional game board. "They're not just being defeated," Dr. Chang reported, her scientific mind racing to process what was happening. "They're being studied, analyzed. The artifact is learning from their attack methodology in real time." Jack understood then that they were witnessing something beyond a simple defensive action. This was first contact of the most profound kind. Humanity had discovered something that could communicate on a level far beyond traditional technological interaction. The solar system around them had become a laboratory, a testing ground for something far more complex than a simple military engagement. As the last of the Convergent ships disappeared, the artifact continued to pulse, not triumphantly, not aggressively, but with a sense of calm curiosity that suggested this was just the beginning of a much larger conversation. Something ancient was watching, and humanity had just proven itself far more interesting than anyone in the galaxy had ever anticipated. 72 hours after the Convergence's failed attack, the true nature of the artifact began to reveal itself. Dr. Emily Chang stood at the center of a research setup that defied every known principle of scientific investigation. Sierra Rodriguez remained connected to the neural interface, her consciousness dancing along the edges of something profoundly beyond human comprehension. "It's a communication network," Sierra whispered, her voice carrying the weight of a revelation that would reshape human understanding of the universe. "Not just a weapon, not just a technology. A living interface that connects civilizations across distances we can't even imagine." Jack Hunter watched the holographic displays with a mixture of scientific curiosity and military precision. The artifact's crystalline structure had transformed, no longer a static object, but a dynamic, breathing system of information and potential. Dr. Chang's analysis revealed layers of complexity that challenged everything humanity understood about consciousness and communication. The geometric patterns aren't just design, she explained, her voice trembling with excitement. They're a language, a living, adaptive language that reshapes itself based on the consciousness interacting with it. Fragments of cosmic history began to bleed through Sierra's neural connection. Civilizations that had risen and fallen. Cosmic conflicts that had reshaped entire galactic structures. An intelligence that had waited, watched, for something specific. For someone specific. Humanity is different. Sierra continued, her consciousness partially merged with the artifact's information matrix. Every other species approached this as a technology to be conquered or controlled. We're the first to approach it with genuine curiosity. With wonder. The research team watched in stunned silence as the artifact began to unfold, not physically, though its crystalline structure continued to shift and transform, but dimensionally. Complex neural pathways began to form, creating a living network that seemed to breathe with potential. Dr. Chang's quantum analysis systems were going wild. It's creating neural interfaces that shouldn't be possible, she reported. The artifact is essentially learning our entire species' potential in real time. It's not just receiving information, it's actively adapting to our way of thinking. Jack Hunter understood then that they had crossed a threshold. This was more than scientific discovery. This was first contact of the most profound kind. Fragments of memory continued to flow. Not human memories. Not memories from any single civilization, but something older. Something that existed before time as they understood it. The artifact revealed itself as a cosmic communication network, a system designed to connect civilizations across unimaginable distances. But something had gone wrong. Something had caused this network to become dormant, waiting for a specific type of consciousness to reawaken it. We're the key, Sierra whispered, her consciousness hovering between human perception and something far more complex. Our unique blend of curiosity, adaptability, emotional depth. It's something no other species has demonstrated. Holographic displays erupted across the research station, showing complex multidimensional maps of galactic history. Civilizations that had risen and fallen. Cosmic conflicts that had reshaped entire sectors of space. And at the center of it all, this artifact, this living communication network, waiting. Dr. Chang's instruments detected something unprecedented. The artifact wasn't just communicating. It was learning, adapting, creating neural pathways that merged human consciousness with a cosmic intelligence that defied traditional understanding. We're not just discovering something, Jack Hunter said, understanding the profound implications of their finding. We're being chosen. The artifact continued to pulse, not with aggression, not with threat, but with a sense of profound curiosity that suggested this was just the beginning of a much larger conversation. Humanity had become more than observers. They had become participants in a cosmic dialogue that would reshape everything they understood about consciousness, technology, and their place in the universe. Something ancient was finally awake, and humanity had just become its chosen interpreters. The transformation began subtly at first. Human research stations started to change, not through external modification, but through a fundamental restructuring that defied every known principle of engineering. Jack Hunter watched in astonishment as computational systems rewrote themselves. Quantum matrices realigned with impossible precision, and entire technological infrastructures evolved in real time. Dr. Emily Chang's research platforms were the first to fully manifest the artifact's transformative potential. Quantum computers that had taken decades to develop were now reconfiguring themselves, creating computational networks that operated across dimensions previously thought impossible. It's not upgrading our technology, Sierra Rodriguez explained, her consciousness still partially merged with the artifact's information matrix. It's teaching us how to think differently, how to perceive reality beyond our current limitations. Holographic displays erupted across the research complex, showing complex multidimensional maps that revealed the artifact's true purpose. This was no mere technological network. It was a galactic reset mechanism designed to prevent technological civilizations from destroying themselves through endless conflict and technological stagnation. The Convergents had spent millennia suppressing this network, maintaining their power by keeping other species technologically limited. Humanity's unique approach, their blend of curiosity, adaptability, and unbridled innovative spirit, had become the key to unlocking its full potential. Jack Hunter watched as human ships began to transform, not through external modifications, but through a fundamental reimagining of technological potential. Propulsion systems that had taken centuries to develop were now reconfiguring themselves, creating faster-than-light travel capabilities that made previous technological achievements look like primitive experiments. "We're being elevated," Dr. Chang reported, her scientific mind racing to comprehend the unprecedented transformation. The artifact is essentially uploading an entire evolutionary trajectory of technological understanding. Defensive systems evolved with similar rapidity, where human technology had previously relied on brute force approaches to space exploration and conflict. The artifact introduced solutions of breathtaking complexity. Energy shields that could manipulate quantum fields, computational systems that could predict and neutralize potential threats before they even manifested. Sierra's ongoing neural interface provided insights that transcended traditional scientific understanding. "The Convergents tried to control technological evolution," she explained, "but this network is designed to nurture it, to guide species toward a more collaborative cosmic existence." Research stations across human-controlled space began to experience similar transformations. Quantum entanglement became a standard communication method. Computational systems developed self-evolving algorithms that could adapt to virtually any challenge. Medical technologies emerged that could reconstruct cellular structures with impossible precision. Jack understood then that they were witnessing more than a technological upgrade. This was a fundamental reimagining of human potential. The artifact revealed itself as something far more complex than a simple communication network. It was a cosmic gardener, a system designed to nurture technological civilizations, to prevent them from destroying themselves through short-sighted conflict or technological limitations. "We're not just receiving technology," Dr. Chang reported, her voice a mixture of scientific excitement and profound wonder. "We're being given a roadmap, a way of understanding the universe that goes beyond our current limitations." Entire human research complexes began to pulse with an energy that defied traditional understanding. Quantum matrices realigned. Computational systems evolved. Defensive capabilities emerged that made previous military technologies look like children's toys. The transformation wasn't just technological. It was philosophical. Humanity was being given a fundamental understanding of its place in the cosmic ecosystem, not as conquerors, but as potential collaborators in a much larger universal dialogue. As the last of the research stations completed their transformation, Jack Hunter realized they had crossed a threshold from which there was no returning. Humanity had become something more than they had ever imagined possible. The artifact continued to pulse, not with aggression, not with threat, but with a sense of profound curiosity that suggested this was just the beginning of a much larger conversation. Something ancient was guiding them, and humanity had just become its most promising students. The moment of full awakening arrived with a silence that was more profound than any sound humanity had ever experienced. Jack Hunter stood at the epicenter of a transformation that would redefine the very concept of existence. Sierra Rodriguez, her consciousness still partially merged with the artifact's quantum matrix, became the conduit for something beyond human comprehension. Massive energy fields erupted around the research complex, turning human installations into impenetrable fortresses that rewrote the fundamental laws of physics. Dr. Emily Chang's instruments went into overdrive, capturing data points that would take centuries to fully comprehend. "We're not just interfacing," Sierra whispered, her voice carrying the weight of cosmic revelation. "We're becoming." The artifact began to upload itself through human technological and neural networks. It wasn't an invasion. It wasn't a conquest. It was a merger of consciousness that defied every previous understanding of communication, technology, and existence. Convergence observation platforms watched in horror as human technology began to evolve at an exponential rate. Ships that had taken decades to design were now reconfiguring themselves in milliseconds. Defensive systems emerged that could predict and neutralize threats before they could even be conceived. Jack Hunter understood then that they were witnessing something far more profound than a technological upgrade. This was a fundamental restructuring of human potential. Quantum communication networks blossomed across human-controlled space. Complex energy matrices created communication pathways that transcended traditional understandings of information transfer. Where previous technologies required massive infrastructure, these new systems could transmit entire civilizational histories in the space between heartbeats. The artifact is teaching us, Dr. Chang reported, her scientific mind struggling to process the unprecedented transformation, not just giving us technology, teaching us how to perceive reality itself. Entire star systems began to resonate with a new frequency. Human ships could now navigate dimensional pathways that had previously been impossible. Computational systems developed self-evolving algorithms that could adapt to virtually any challenge, creating a technological ecosystem of breathtaking complexity. Sierra's neural interface provided insights that went beyond traditional scientific understanding. "We're not just receiving information," she explained. "We're being shown our potential, our place in a much larger cosmic ecosystem." The convergence watched in stunned disbelief as humanity transformed. Ships that had once been capable of destroying entire planetary systems now found themselves obsolete. Defensive technologies that had taken millennia to develop were rendered completely ineffective in moments. But this wasn't about conquest. This was about evolution. Jack Hunter watched as human research stations began to pulse with an energy that defied traditional understanding. Quantum matrices realigned, computational systems evolved. Defensive capabilities emerged that made previous military technologies look like primitive constructs. "We're being elevated," Sierra continued, her consciousness dancing along the edges of something profound. "Shown a way of existing that goes beyond our previous limitations." The artifact revealed itself as a cosmic gardener, a system designed to nurture technological civilizations, to prevent them from destroying themselves through short-sighted conflict or technological stagnation. Massive holographic displays erupted across human-controlled space, showing complex multidimensional maps that revealed the intricate connections between civilizations. The universe was no longer a collection of isolated systems, but a living, breathing network of potential and possibility. Dr. Chang's instruments captured something unprecedented. The artifact wasn't just communicating or upgrading human technology. It was fundamentally restructuring human perception of reality itself. "We're becoming something more," Jack Hunter said, understanding the profound implications of their discovery. The transformation continued. Entire human infrastructures were reimagined. Medical technologies emerged that could reconstruct cellular structures with impossible precision. Communication systems developed that could transmit entire experiential memories across vast cosmic distances. As the last of the technological transformations completed, humanity found itself standing at the threshold of something unprecedented. No longer just observers of the universe, they had become active participants in a cosmic dialogue that defied previous understanding. The artifact continued to pulse, not with aggression, not with threat, but with a sense of profound curiosity that suggested this was just the beginning of a much larger conversation. Something ancient was guiding them, and humanity had just become its most promising students. The final transformation was not about conquest, it was about connection. Jack Hunter stood at the epicenter of a moment that would redefine human existence. Sierra Rodriguez, her consciousness still partially merged with the cosmic network, began to articulate the profound shift that was occurring across every human-controlled sector of space. "We're not victors," she explained, her voice carrying the weight of cosmic understanding. "We're conductors, interpreters of a dialogue that has been waiting for billions of years." The convergence, that vast collective of advanced civilizations that had controlled galactic progression for millennia, found itself completely neutralized, not through violent confrontation, but through a complete restructuring of technological and cultural paradigms that rendered their previous power structures obsolete. Dr. Emily Chang's research platforms captured the unprecedented moment. Entire communication networks were being rewritten. Dimensional pathways that had been carefully controlled were now opening like intricate flowers of pure potential. Humanity was no longer a marginalized species to be controlled or feared. They had become the key holders of an ancient cosmic communication network. Holographic displays across human research complexes revealed the true magnitude of their discovery. The artifact was not a weapon. It was not a technology. It was a living network, a cosmic communication system that had been waiting for a species capable of truly understanding its purpose. The convergence tried to control technological evolution, Jack Hunter observed, watching as massive alien communication platforms simply dissolved into streams of quantum information. But this network was designed to nurture it. Entire star systems began to resonate with a new frequency. Human ships could now navigate dimensional pathways that defied previous understanding of space and time. Computational systems developed self-evolving algorithms that could adapt to challenges beyond human imagination. Sierra's ongoing neural interface provided insights that transcended traditional scientific understanding. "We're being shown our potential," she explained. "Our place in a much larger cosmic ecosystem." The transformation was philosophical as much as it was technological. Humanity was being given a fundamental understanding of its place in the universal dialogue, not as conquerors, but as potential collaborators in a much larger cosmic conversation. Dr. Chang's instruments detected something unprecedented. The artifact was essentially uploading an entire evolutionary trajectory of understanding. Medical technologies emerged that could reconstruct cellular structures with impossible precision. Communication systems developed that could transmit entire experiential memories across vast cosmic distances. Jack Hunter understood then that they had crossed a threshold from which there was no returning. Humanity had become something more than they had ever imagined possible. Massive energy fields continued to pulse around human research complexes. Defensive capabilities emerged that made previous military technologies look like primitive constructs. But this wasn't about power. It was about potential. "We're being elevated," Sierra continued, her consciousness dancing along the edges of something profound. "Shown a way of existing that goes beyond our previous limitations." The convergence's vast network of control simply dissolved, not through violence, not through conflict, but through a complete reimagining of technological and cultural potential. Entire civilizational infrastructures were restructured, revealing connections that had been hidden for millennia. Quantum communication networks blossomed across human-controlled space. Complex energy matrices created communication pathways that transcended traditional understandings of information transfer. Where previous technologies required massive infrastructure, these new systems could transmit entire civilizational histories in the space between heartbeats. As the last of the transformations completed, humanity found itself standing at the threshold of something unprecedented. No longer just observers of the universe, they had become active participants in a cosmic dialogue that defied previous understanding. Dr. Chang's final report captured the essence of their discovery. "We are not conquering. We are connecting." The artifact continued to pulse, not with aggression, not with threat, but with a sense of profound curiosity that suggested this was just the beginning of a much larger conversation. Jack Hunter looked out across the transformed research complex. Humanity had become the unexpected conductors of a cosmic symphony, a species that had been chosen to bridge unimaginable distances, to connect civilizations that had existed in isolation for eons. Something ancient was finally awake, and humanity had become its most promising interpreters. The stars themselves seemed to resonate with a new possibility. That true power lies not in destruction, but in the capacity to listen, to understand, and to connect beyond the boundaries of known existence.